In part 2 of this video, I'd like to take you through how to paint some of the farm machinery objects as well as some of the shadows coming off of the apple trees. It's easy to kind of fuss over some of these items. I know I fuss over them a lot, but they usually turn out best when you just kind of paint them in nice and quick and just move on. And what makes them effective is if we understand the direction of the light coming into the painting. So in this example, in this painting, the light is coming in from the top left side, and so that's why we're leaving a lot of the light here on the left side of each item. Really makes a difference.
With a little hooker's green and ultramarine blue, just painting in some apple trees way off in the distance there. The entire painting took me about 4 hours to complete, so I'm going to speed up some of these parts here, otherwise we'll be here for a while. Now that we've got the painting pretty much laid out, it's time to add some shadows. Usually it's darkest underneath a tree or bush. In this case it's a row of apple trees, so I'm painting the darkest areas or the shadow areas underneath the foliage. And also being careful to go around the little tractor. To avoid going around the objects, one of the techniques that's possible is to use masking fluid to cover up the items that you don't want painted over. And then at the end, you would simply remove the masking fluid. I didn't do that in this painting. Just adding little tufts of grass growing through the dirt road. It also helps kind of depict the road a little bit more. Okay, time to paint in the farm machinery objects. Using a 1/4-inch flat brush here. I find using a flat brush really helps to paint small objects, to sort of stay within the lines like a coloring book. The color of these items doesn't much matter, but what matters is that we understand the direction of light. So in other words, where is the light coming from? In this painting, the light is coming from the top left. So we want to leave the lightest side on the left side of each object. All right, now to jazz this up with some shadows underneath the tractor, using a combination of ultramarine blue and Payne's gray. As I'm painting this tractor, I keep telling myself that the darkest side of this object will be on the right and that the lightest side will be on the left. It's important too when painting shadows that the shadow follows the lay of the land, so to speak. So in this example, there's a hill, so the shadow is going down the hill and across the road, as opposed to just drawing a flat shadow or a flat line coming down from the bush. To get this sort of rust color, I used a combination of burnt sienna and burnt umber. It's also tempting to kind of color in the entire object. Sometimes I find that the painting has a bit more freshness when there's a little bit of white left on the paper where the light is hitting the object. So I think I'm going to let that left wheel there be light. There's an odd looking little purple house back there. Just a few more shadows here on the right side and some minor details, and we're pretty much there. Later on, I did go back into the painting to try and refine it a little bit more and add some more details. But that's the general gist of it. Let me know what questions you have, and thank you very much for watching.